Hello there, welcome to another episode of the Allotment Dram. This is a series of short videos where we sit and talk about different whiskies in the surroundings of our North London allotment. You've joined me here today on a cold, quite damp January afternoon, sort of getting on towards late January now, and we've had a cold snap of sort of 10 days of sort of freezing weather, but that's passed now, so I can actually get up here and do a little bit of proper work as well, and of course talk to you about some whiskey. And what is the Allotment Dram today, I hear you ask? Well, it's from a pretty well-known distillery, and it is the Aberlour Casg Annamh. So Casg Annamh, you'll see, is spelt with C-A-S-G A-N-N-A-M-H, and that's actually Gaelic for rare cask. And in the case of this, it's ex-Oloroso sherry cask, because Aberlour are very well known for their use of the sherry casks. They're one of sort of handful of distilleries that are really known for that style. Otherwise you've got Macallan, Glenfarclas, Glendronach, etc. Sitting alongside Aberlour for their use of sherry casks. So this came out first in 2018. And is bottled at 48%, and should cost you around £55 to £60. Depends where you shop, of course, but yeah, that should be the price. And when I say it's ex-Oloroso sherry casks, they're actually from two different types of oak. So American oak ex-sherry casks and European oak ex-sherry casks. And what's happened, the reason it's called Casg Annamh, rare cask in Gaelic, is the fact that these casks are not just your normal sherry casks. They've held sherry for a much longer time than would be for a normal sherry cask. So you get much more sort of expressive flavours, much more sort of sherry contact with the oak itself. So yeah. What else can I tell you, really? I can tell you a little bit about Aberlour. It's a lovely place, right up in the middle of Speyside there. Sits alongside the River Spey. It's basically one main street and then a few little streets either side going down to the river, and very picturesque place. The distillery itself was founded in 1879 by a local banker called James Fleming, and he became like a real sort of investor in the village of Aberlour, and he installed the first ever electricity. So there was electric street lamps in Aberlour. He built a hospital which is now named after him, the James Fleming Hospital, still open in Aberlour, a small country hospital. He also built a bridge over the River Spey called the Penny Bridge, which the footbridge, which you basically paid a penny to go over to the other side. And he's actually buried in the graveyard, which is, if you go to Aberlour Distillery, the graveyard is literally right over the road from the distillery. So there's he's intertwined in the history of Aberlour, the village itself. And it's also very well known, Aberlour, not just for the whiskey distillery, but it's also the home of Walker's shortbread. So yeah, they're also worth a visit if you're up in that sort of area as well. But I think that's enough chat. We should probably have a look at the whiskey and have a little taste. So let's see what we've got here with Aberlour Casg Annamh. Say it's 48%, so a little bit higher than Aberlour's other sort of core products. So you'll see here, lovely deep golden colour, almost like sort of amber, coppery sort of colour. Really nice. Yeah, really sort of rich and expressive. Some delicious wood spice straight away, like a sort of cinnamon, bit of oak, sort of tannic oak, bit of cinnamon, but then there's lots of sort of dried fruits, raisin in particular. There's a lot of raisin and candied orange. the peel that you sometimes get in like fruit cakes and things like that. Some caramel as well. Yeah, it smells very delicious, so I think we should have a little taste. It's immediately got a lovely mouthfeel. It's quite oily, very textural, rich. Then you've got this sort of the dried fruit in particular, dried fruit and caramel. So this raisin, this candied orange, the caramel. It's joined this time by quite distinct nuttiness actually, and you often get this with Oloroso sherry casks. So if you have a glass of Oloroso sherry, you'll find that it's has the fruitiness, but it also has this sort of nutty, almost like toasted sort of hazelnut, maybe a hint of like almond or something like that. But yeah, maybe there's a little bit of walnut in there as well, so it's a slight bitterness which is tending towards then those woody spices that we were talking about on the nose. But let's have another taste. And just that texture is so delicious actually. It's so warm, quite comforting. So there's other notes kind of sitting underneath now, sort of like malted cereals, sort of barley, slightly bittersweet barley. There's a bit of cocoa as well, cocoa powder, a bit of green apple. It's just got this lovely warmth and sort of richness to it. Yeah, very, very nice. So, as I say, Aberlour is a very big selling brand, you know. Sits either just in or just outside of the top 10 in terms of total sales of Scotch single malt. So, you know, it's not to be sniffed at in any way. You know, very, very good, and as I say, very good exponents of this use of the old sherry casks, you know, from right down in the south of Spain, Jerez, and the sherry triangle there. So yeah, very, very nice, and an interesting mix of American oak and European oak Oloroso sherry casks here. So yeah, very nice. I think that's maybe about it. I'll certainly finish off this glass and get on with one or two jobs now that the ground is no longer frozen solid. So I'll leave you to get on, do whatever you're doing before you happened across this video. So from myself and the Aberlour Casg Annamh, we will bid you farewell, and we hope to see you again soon on another Allotment Dram. Cheers!